Welcome to the new edition version of USA TV Talk News Sports Live for this Tuesday, June 28th, the year 2011. I'm Al Broom, along with Chris Ponte and Angelo Notaro. 792-4101 is our live call-in number. Give us a call anytime, and you can talk about any topic that you want to. We'll be talking about world politics. We'll be talking about news in our country, in the area. And Angelo will be giving his perspective on sports. He's basically the sports anchor, and Chris is news and more entertainment anchor, and myself just general correspondent. First of all, let me introduce you to Chris Ponte. And by the way, Chris, I had him as a student in grade 6 at Mill Ridge Intermediate School back in the 70s, and a couple times he also helped out on a public access production in the old Channel 6 News studio in the basement of the Danbury Public Library. So I'm going to ask you first, just give a basic bio, of your background, just zippity-doo-dah through it, and then we'll go to Angela and we'll take it from there.
Well, Al, you and I met in 1974, and it's a very long way from Mill Ridge School and the Diary of Anne Frank that you helped me read when I was a tender lad of 11. But I am a freelance person in the sports world. I am a stage manager / statistician. I do a little stand-up comedy, and I also have dedicated the last 20 years of my life to understanding Bible prophecy and how it applies in the world today.
Angelo, your background, of course, is sports. You're a great fighter with the American Kickboxing Federation, a real amateur champ. How did you get into sports in general and a take on your life?
I basically got into a guy that we both know, John Carlo, at an early age. I was a heavier kid at the time, a big guy still. I used it for conditioning, and then obviously John Carlo became a top-notch Northeast promoter. He saw something in me, and I began fighting for the USA Karate outfit. I have a lot of fun with it. I'm 40 years old. I've never had more fun in my life. A lot of people ask me, why do you do this? I say basically this is your softball league. Instead of catching fly balls, I like to get punched in the face. That's a little joke I say. But I met you, Al, on the circuit of fighting. You're 60-something years old, and I feel old, but you just marvel me on what you can do and the ambition you have and the things that you've overcome in the past to become a top-notch wrestler here in Connecticut, as well as fighting on the cards with John.
July 9th, you have a big fight.
Without a doubt.
Give us some basic information about that.
Well, after 15 fights, I have a title fight. July 9th, it's going to be at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie. I'm fighting for the AKBF Masters title, which is basically Masters is 35 years or older. And I got a title fight. I have a lot of fans, a lot of people that support me in every way. I've got a great family that helps me out in any way it can. And just people like you, Al, and and John Carlo. My trainer, Tony Straconi, is a phenomenal guy. A guy that's basically trained Floyd Patterson's son to a world title. He's a good guy. And the things that really motivates me in the sport is not really so much the sport. You know what I mean? It's just people who are not doing as well as me. People who are in wheelchairs, people who are sick.
To our viewers, our telephone number is 792-4101. Again, 792-4101. Give us a call. Any topic that you want to talk about. What do you think right now is the biggest problem in the world? What do you think about the Afghan situation in Iraq? What do you think about Obamacare? What do you think about the upcoming presidential election for 2012. Do you think that President Obama will seek re-election? And among the Republican contenders, who do you think really has a fair chance? So let me ask you that. What do you think about politics in general? Let's just look at it within our own country right now.
Well, right now we have a severe problem, and with our currency. And that seems to be permeating all of our lives and all aspects of life, and you cannot disclude government from that. Politics now, government is very local. and that means if you don't have a job to go to, you want to kick the bums out. We have a severe problem in this country, and as we look towards 2012, there better be someone that gets elected that can take care of our unemployment problem, or there's going to be major upheaval in our country.
A couple of weeks ago, CNN had a report, and I watched it on their website. And what they're reporting is that based on the investigative report that they have done, CNN, that within the next year, people will become very disenfranchised to the point that because of the economy, that they may resort to civil disobedience. And there's even a thought that that might even take place sooner. So the question is, are we really safe today, with the economy?
All you have to do is look at what's going on in Greece. They call it austerity. All that means is that the country is bankrupt, and they're going to take from you your benefits and your pensions. That's coming to America, and no one in this country is going to take that laying down.
Angelo, your take on it?
You know what? I don't follow the world affairs that much, to be quite honest with you. But I think a change of a politician is not going to make a whole change. I think it's going to take a team over a good period of time to create peace in this world, to help each other out. You know what I mean? Teammanship is what it's all about, not one politician. You can't blame one politician.
Yes. Okay, to our first caller. Your question or comment, please?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Hi.
Go ahead.
My name is Rose, and I'm wondering, in Revelation 6,
Yes?
it says 1/4 of the world's population will be eliminated. Will this be those that don't believe Jesus as Lord and Savior, example Muslims, or will they change their views?
This will occur right after the removal of the church, after Revelation 4:1 takes place, where we're taken up from the world and the tribulation hour begins. Okay? So the 1 in 4 will be from the total population that is left after the rapture of the church.
And to our caller, your follow-up comment or question? When you're listening...
Well, basically, my question
would be
is, will these Muslims have to change their views to Christianity?
Well, there is going to be a forwarding of the gospel after the church is removed by 144,000 Jewish believers that will be able to witness in such power that whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim during that time, you will be drawn towards Jesus Christ and eternal life. Now, whether or not, what's the percentage of people accepting, I don't know. But that's where evangelism is going.
Okay, thank you very much for your call. Let's turn back to the economy, Angela. The Dodgers now are talking about, they're in the process of filing for bankruptcy. I mean, this is unheard of in the past. What is your take on this? Why is this happening?
Like we spoke about earlier before the show went on, I think it's just basically a battle of a man and a woman, and this goes on all over the world. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just can't agree on that certain thing, which becomes money. You know, the number one issue in a marriage is money. You know what I mean? And more fights are about money. I think this is probably a power struggle. You know what I mean? I don't think baseball sales are down. I think that market that the Dodgers are in is a phenomenal market. I mean, it's basically dominated by the Hispanics, and the Hispanics play the game of baseball well. I mean, you can look at the majority of the baseball players in major leagues are from the Dominican Republic or Mexico. This is a great market for baseball. What I feel bad about is, you know, I'm being a Yankee fan, that in an opportunity like this, you know what I mean, for Don Mattingly, a guy that's basically gave his whole life to baseball, the small people are going to be ruined in this situation. There is no way in how that the Dodgers, basically a top 3 franchise in Major League Baseball, should have financial issues. You know what I mean? basically dominated a baseball market area in California. Everyone plays baseball, you know. Like I said, you know, answering your question, Al, I think it basically comes down to husband and wife not agreeing on something. You know?
In that particular situation.
Yeah.
What about players in general? Do you think that they're overpaid, or what's your take on this whole thing?
You know, how do I answer that? As a ball player or an owner? As a fan, you know what? If I'm willing to scrape up $150 to take 2 kids to a game, you know what? Then maybe they do deserve it. You know what I mean? That's the principle of that. What I think of that. Like anything, you know what I mean? Any kind of thing you would ever do in your life, you know what I mean? If you're paid well, you know what I mean, and you think you deserve it, why not? Go for it.
Let me ask you one other thing, and this is something that I'm really concerned about. And I'll start the discussion on this. It has to do really with trainers, trainees, with training in general. It used to be years ago, and I'm talking, you know, within the public school system. It used to be that sports was viewed more like a recreational sport. A lot has changed since then. There's a lot of high-tech training going on. I personally feel for anybody up until 18 years of age, it should be, you know, recreational. But yet, I think that kids are being subjected to, I think, harsh training. So I'm going to throw it to you, Angelo. What is your take on training in general? I'm talking about up until the age of 18 within a public school district.
I think if a child has an opportunity, has a God-given ability to do something to better their life, you know what I mean? And as long as they're on the same page with their family, because that's what it comes back to, is your family back at home, and that's where the love is. You know, I think that if you have the ability, God-given, to get to the next level, why not? You should be able to take your ability to the next level and shoot for something, you know? I just don't think that it's so much towards that. I think it becomes once the kid leaves home and comes, you know, leaves mom and dad, I think the harshness is the major leagues, the college, you know what I mean, how they just take them to another level. And, you know, a lot of athletes, you know, at an early point in your career, regardless of what sport it is, they deal with injuries that last a lifetime.
Okay, now, Chris, we've been talking a lot about, you know, in the public school system, rather, you know, bullying. Now, what's your take on bullying? Do you think there's an overplay on it?
I think that they're using the subject of bullying in an effort to allow things that were once thought to be taboo be normal. Okay? You never lay a hand on another person, but that comes from the heart. You don't beat anybody up, you don't take advantage of them. But I was with 2 teachers last night from the Danbury school system, and they were talking about what goes on at the high school in terms of what they're calling now alternate lifestyles. They made sure they told me that nothing is right, nothing is wrong. We accept everybody, okay? But in this situation, there was a gentleman that came to school every day dressed as a woman. In order to allow him, they wouldn't send him home, which if I was the principal, that's what would happen. You go home, you dress, if you're a man, you dress like a man. If you're a woman, you dress like a lady. But they say, no, we got to leave him alone in the hopes that people would accept his difference so they don't bully. And in that case, it's wrong. There is a right and there is a wrong. And I think that if you're coming to school dressed that way, I'm sorry. There's going to be somebody that's going to take exception to that. Why not reel it in a little bit? Do what you want in your private life, but when you're in the public square, like when in Rome, act like a Roman.
And as you know, our country is becoming more like that former Roman Empire. We are beginning to crumble and what have you.
Absolutely.
Let's take it one step further now. And I'm not, you know, trying to create an issue here, but just on what you said. So what's the difference between having a kid